The Dragon Ball franchise is one of the biggest anime and manga properties ever, being renowned by fans for several decades at this point. The manga is currently still going as Dragon Ball Super, while an anime spin-off titled Dragon Ball Daima is on the way. This shows how popular the brand has become, but that can also be seen in how it survived a full-on genre change. As originally envisioned by creator Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball was a fantasy-based martial arts series. Actual training and skill took precedence over special attacks, even for as fantastical as characters such as Goku were. Nevertheless, these roots gave rise to a science fiction series, changing drastically from the much more grounded tone that things began with. The original Dragon Ball manga was a retool of Akira Toriyama's prototype of the series, Dragon Boy. Toriyama was inspired by the comedic martial arts movies of Jackie Chan, and combined elements of those films with loose narrative concepts, borrowed from the Chinese literary classic, Journey to the West. This was seen in many of the characters, namely protagonist Son Goku himself. Son Goku was named after and based on Sun Wukong, the Monkey King of Journey to the West. Other elements cribbed from this material for the character included a flying cloud, a bow staff Goku's power pole, and Goku's simian ability to transform into a giant ape. Likewise, Zhu Baji, a shape-shifting trickster Pagan Sha Wujing, were replaced by the somewhat similar Oolong and Yamha. Even the 7 Dragon Balls were synonymous with sutras. Obviously, the Dragon Balls themselves, talking animals. The inhuman-looking Emperor Pilaf and Goku having a tail put the series in the realm of fantasy. At the same time, things were still fairly grounded in scope, with the series' sense of adventure taking the characters to colorful, yet still mostly normal locales. By the time that Master Roshi was introduced, things started focusing more on martial arts and training. Goku and Krillin felt equal in many ways due to their mutual training from Roshi, and whenever there was a world martial arts tournament, the focus was on which fighter had superior skills, and it wasn't merely a matter of who could shoot out the strongest energy blast. Things were so grounded that even a somewhat indisciplined fighter like Yajirobe was able to get in a few victories throughout the series. Even when the Red Ribbon Army becomes the prevailing enemy, each encounter with its generals feels like a true sparring bout. Likewise, the more fantastical elements introduced in the series were just that, fantasy. The evil King Piccolo was treated as a monstrous demon from Earth's past. And the main things with any sort of science fiction tone were Bulma's advanced tech from Capsule Corp. Everything felt in line with the whimsical take on a sort of generic China that the series began with. And this continued until the beginning of what became known in the world of anime as Dragon Ball Z. The latter 325 chapters of Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball were adapted into the anime series, Dragon Ball Z. These stories jumped a few years ahead from the finale of the Dragon Ball anime, with Goku and his wife Kai Kai having had a son named Gohan after Goku's adoptive grandfather. Their reunion with friends is ruined by the arrival of an alien named Raditz. He reveals himself to be Goku's long-lost brother, with Goku actually being a member of the alien Saiyan species. This completely changed everything about the series, with science fiction taking and eliminating most of the more fantasy-based elements. That continued into the saga's next arc, which saw the Z fighters traveling to the alien planet Namek. Through this, it was revealed that Piccolo and Kami were not earthbound demons, but rather alien Namekians. When the remnants of the Red Ribbon Army returned via new androids, the series was very much cast in the mold of the Terminator movie series. The plot was fueled by time travel through the arrival of future Trunks. Frieza briefly came back as a cyborg, and the androids were more robotic than ever. It wasn't until the Majin Buu saga, the last arc in Dragon Ball Z, for the series to go back to its fantasy roots with the pink demon antagonist. There were still more supernatural elements to be found in Dragon Ball Z, namely the concept of otherworld and hell. There were still world martial arts tournaments in the series, but these were far less important than they were during the time of the original Dragon Ball. Thankfully, the follow-up shows both attempted to deliver a better balance of the new scope and the old one, to varying degrees of success. The anime-only sequel series Dragon Ball GT attempted to take things back to the tone and scope of the original Dragon Ball. To this end, it utilized the newly introduced Black Star Dragon Balls to turn Goku back into a child, just like he was at the beginning of that series. Even then, this was coupled with a continued pivot to science fiction, with the series title abbreviation standing for Grand Tour, to find the Black Star Dragon Balls and save Earth. Goku, his granddaughter Pan, and Vegeta and Bulma's son Trunks scoured the galaxy. Thus, Goku's new opponents were largely other aliens, namely the machine mutants, Dr. Gero and Baby, the genetic reservoir of the Tuffles, a rival species that had been wiped out by the Saiyans long beforehand. The fantasy elements were still light compared to the science fiction concepts, with the main exceptions again being hell and the presence of the evil and mystical shadow dragons. Likewise, the World Martial Arts Tournament was more of a subplot than even, showcasing how much the franchise had changed. Of course, the series' attempts to ape the classic stories caused a bit of controversy among the fans. Dragon Ball Super is the true sequel to Dragon Ball Z, though it accomplished the same sort of balancing act as Dragon Ball GT. The scope was grander and more cosmic than ever, with the Z fighters fighting gods and beings from throughout the multiverse. These gods arguably kept the fantasy elements alive, and the Tournament of Power called back to the martial arts focus of the initial series. Of course, this tournament was far more over the top than any World Martial Arts Tournament, with ki blasts and similar techniques taking precedence over anything resembling normal kung fu.